The space station Nexus 7 floated silently among the stars. Inside, Judge Han Sung sat in his black robes in courtroom 12. He was tired after hearing 10 cases already that day. The air felt cold, and the blue lights made everyone look pale. Judge Han checked his screen. One more case. He tapped the button, and the door slid open. A woman walked in. She wore a simple gray uniform with the Earth Science Division patch. Her hair was short and neat, and she walked with confidence. "Please state your name for the court," Judge Han said. "Dr. Su Yoon, Research Level 8, Earth Science Division," she replied. Her voice was calm and clear. Judge Han looked at his screen again. "Dr. Yoon, you are charged with breaking Rule 347 by touching an alien artifact without permission. How do you plead?" "Not guilty, Your Honor." Han raised his eyebrows. "Most people just paid the fine and left. The report says you were found in Lab Section 5 with your hands on the Bori crystal. Only Level 10 researchers can touch it." Dr. Yoon nodded. "That is true, but the crystal was changing color. That only happens when it's about to release energy. I put my hands on it to stop a possible explosion." Judge Han frowned. He knew nothing about the Bori crystal. Most judges weren't scientists, but rules were rules. "Do you have proof that the crystal was dangerous?" he asked. "I filed my report with Science Chief Kim." "It's all there," she said. Han checked his screen again. "I don't see any report here." "That's strange. I submitted it yesterday," Dr. Yoon said. She stood straight, looking right at him. Judge Han felt uncomfortable. He was one of only 3 human judges on the station. The others were aliens from different planets. As the newest judge, he wanted to show that humans followed rules strictly. "Doctor, I understand you were trying to help, but rules exist for a reason. The Bori crystal is from the Bori people. They trust us to respect their gifts. With respect, Your Honor, I have studied the Bori crystal for 6 years. I know when it's stable and when it's not." Judge Han didn't like her tone. Was she suggesting she knew better than the rules? 6 years of study doesn't put you above station rules, Doctor. Your ID shows you are Level 8. The crystal requires Level 10 clearance. 2 security officers stood nearby, watching. One was human, one was Trell, with blue skin and 4 eyes. Han felt their gaze. He needed to be firm. "Dr. Su Yoon, I find you guilty of breaking Rule 347. The fine is 5,000 credits. Additionally, your lab access is restricted for 14 days. Dr. Yoon's face showed no emotion, but her eyes narrowed slightly. "May I speak freely, Your Honor?" "The ruling is final, Doctor." "I understand, but the crystal readings—" "That's enough," Judge Han said. "The court has ruled. Please pay your fine before leaving the station today." Dr. Yoon nodded once. "As you wish, Your Honor." As she turned to leave, Han had a strange feeling. Most people showed anger or fear after being fined. Dr. Yoon showed neither. Instead, she looked at him as if she was studying him, like he was some kind of puzzle. After she left, Han checked his schedule for tomorrow. His eyes widened when he saw a mandatory training session. Advanced Alien Artifact Handling and Legal Implications. The teacher's name made his heart stop. Dr. Su Yoon, Chief Science Advisor and Legal Educator. Han suddenly realized he had just found his teacher. The same person who would be grading his required judicial training. He had never met her before today. No one had told him that Dr. Yoon was both a researcher and a legal educator. He closed his eyes and sighed. Tomorrow would be very awkward. And he still didn't understand why her report was missing from his files, or why no one had mentioned her dual role. As he left the courtroom, the lights dimmed behind him. Far below, in Lab Section 5, the Bori crystal began to glow a deep, dangerous red. Judge Han arrived early for the training session. He chose a seat at the back of the room, hoping to blend in with the other judges. The room filled quickly with people from all over the station. Some were human, but most were aliens from different planets. Everyone wore their official robes or uniforms. Han checked the time. 900 hours. His heart beat faster as the door slid open. Dr. Su-Yun walked in wearing a dark blue teacher's uniform, with silver stripes on the shoulders. The room went quiet. "Good morning," she said. Her voice carried easily across the large room. "I am Dr. Su-Yun. For those who don't know me, I am the Chief Science Advisor for Alien Artifacts and a professor of space law at Earth University." Judge Han sank lower in his seat. Chief Science Advisor. Professor? The woman he had found yesterday had much higher rank than he had realized. Dr. Yun tapped her screen, and a large image of the Bori crystal appeared on the wall. Han felt his face grow hot. "Today we will discuss the Bori crystal and the special rules that apply to it," she said. "As some of you may know, there was an incident with the crystal yesterday." Several judges turned to look at each other. Han kept his eyes fixed on his desk. "The Bori crystal is not just a gift from the Bori people," Dr. Yun continued. "It is a living thing. It has its own energy and can sense danger. When it feels threatened, it changes color from blue to red." She showed images of the crystal changing colors. "When it turns red, it can release energy equal to a small bomb. This has happened twice in the past 20 years. Han looked up in surprise. This was not in any report he had read. "Yesterday, I noticed the crystal turning red. Following emergency protocol, I placed my hands on it to calm it down. The crystal responds to certain human brain patterns. Mine is one of them." Dr. Yun looked around the room slowly. Her eyes met Han's for a brief moment. "Someone reported me for touching the crystal without proper clearance," she continued. "This was correct according to written rules. But sometimes the written rules do not cover every situation." She changed the image to show the crystal glowing bright red. "This was taken by a security camera 3 hours after I left the lab yesterday. If no one had touched the crystal, this would have happened much sooner." The next image showed a small explosion. Part of the lab was damaged. Luckily, security moved everyone out in time. No one was hurt, but this shows why we need both rules and judgment. Han felt sick. If what she said was true, Dr. Yun had been trying to prevent danger, and he had punished her for it. Dr. Yun split the class into groups for discussion. Han found himself in a group with 2 alien judges. They talked about times when following rules strictly might cause harm. After 30 minutes, Dr. Yun called the class back together. Would anyone like to share their thoughts? One of the alien judges, tall with gray skin, stood up. "Sometimes we must look deeper than the surface of rules. The spirit of the law matters as much as the letter." Dr. Yun nodded. "Well said, Judge Krell. Anyone else?" The room was quiet. Han knew he should say something, but fear kept him silent. "Very well," said Dr. Yun. "Before we end today, I'd like Judge Han Sung to stay after class. The rest of you are dismissed." Han felt every eye in the room turn to him. His heart pounded as the others filed out. Soon, only he and Dr. Yun remained. She walked over and sat in the empty seat next to him. "Judge Han," she said, her voice softer now. "Do you know why I asked you to stay?" Han nodded slowly. "Because I fined you yesterday without understanding the full situation." "Partly," she said, "but mostly because your file says you graduated top of your class in law school. Your professors spoke highly of your ability to think beyond simple rules." Han looked at her in surprise. "You read my file?" "Of course. I read the files of all the judges who might handle cases involving alien artifacts." She smiled slightly. "I was disappointed yesterday. Not by the fine minus 5,000 credits is nothing, but because you didn't ask any questions. You didn't try to understand." Han felt shame wash over him. "I was trying to follow the rules exactly." "A judge's job is not to follow rules blindly," Dr. Yun said. "It's to find justice, which sometimes requires looking deeper." She stood up. "Tomorrow's class will be about the differences between Earth law and alien legal systems. I expect you to sit in the front row and participate." As she walked to the door, she turned back. "Oh, and Judge Han, the Bori crystal is still unstable. I could use a second person with the right brain patterns to help calm it. Would you be interested in learning how?" Han stood up quickly. "Yes, Dr. Yun. I would like that very much." She nodded. "Good. Meet me in lab section 5 after dinner. We have work to do." Judge Han stood outside lab section 5 at exactly 1900 hours. His hands felt cold and his mouth dry. He had changed from his black judge robes into simple gray clothes. He took a deep breath and pressed the door button. The lab door slid open. Inside, Dr. Yun was standing next to the Bori crystal. The crystal sat on a special stand in the middle of the room. It was about the size of a melon and glowed with a soft blue light that sometimes flickered to purple. "You're on time." "Good," Dr. Yun said. She waved him over. Han walked slowly toward the crystal. "Is it safe to be near it now?" "Not completely. That's why we're here." Dr. Yun pointed to some readings on a screen. "The crystal's energy is still unstable. See these patterns? They show it might release energy soon." Han looked at the screen, but didn't understand the lines and numbers. "Don't worry about the readings," Dr. Yun said. "Just watch the crystal itself. What do you see?" Han looked carefully at the crystal. "It's mostly blue, but sometimes it flashes purple. And there, I think I see a bit of red in the center." Dr. Yun smiled. "Very good. Most people miss the red. You have a good eye for detail." She pressed a button, and a small table rose from the floor. On it were 2 hand-shaped plates. "Place your hands on these plates," she said. "They will measure your brain patterns." Han did as she asked. The plates felt warm under his hands. "Everyone's brain creates electrical patterns," Dr. Yun explained. "Most humans have similar patterns, but about 1 in 1,000 has a pattern that matches the Bori crystal's own energy." The machine beeped. Dr. Yun looked at the results and her eyes widened. "Just as I thought," she said. "Your pattern is even closer to the crystals than mine. That's very rare." Han was confused. "What does that mean?" "It means you can help calm the crystal better than anyone else on this station." Dr. Yun looked at him seriously. "But first, I need to teach you how." For the next hour, Dr. Yun taught Han about the crystal. The Bori people had given it to humans 50 years ago as a sign of friendship. The crystal was alive in a way that was different from humans or animals. It could feel things and react to thoughts. "Now, I want you to touch the crystal directly," Dr. Yun said. Han hesitated. "But the rules say—" "Judge Han," she interrupted, "this is the lesson. Rules exist for good reasons, but when new information changes the situation, we must adapt. The rule against touching exists to protect people whose brain patterns would harm the crystal. Your pattern will help it." Han nodded slowly. He reached out and placed his hands on the crystal. The feeling was strange. The crystal felt warm and seemed to pulse under his fingers. In his mind, he sensed something, not words exactly, but feelings. The crystal was afraid. "It's scared," Han said softly. "Yes," Dr. Yun replied. "Something happened yesterday that frightened it. Maybe a strong negative emotion from someone in the lab. Keep your hands there and try to send calm thoughts." Han closed his eyes. He thought about peaceful things, the quiet of his quarters at night, the view of stars from the observation deck, the sound of water in the station garden. The crystal's light changed from flickering purple-blue to a steady, deep blue. The red center disappeared. "Excellent," Dr. Yun said. "You're a natural." Han opened his eyes but kept his hands on the crystal. "This feeling, it's amazing." "Now you understand why I broke the rule yesterday," Dr. Yun said. "The crystal needed help. Rules said I couldn't touch it, but letting it explode would have been worse." Han nodded. "I made a mistake in court. I should have asked more questions." "That's the real lesson here, Judge Han. Good judgment requires understanding the full situation. Rules guide us, but they can't replace thinking. Suddenly, the lab door opened. Chief Security Officer Park walked in with 2 guards. "What's happening here?" Officer Park demanded. "Judge Han, you do not have clearance to touch that crystal." Han started to move his hands away, but Dr. Yoon stopped him. "Keep your hands there," she said firmly. Then she turned to Officer Park. "I gave him permission as Chief Science Advisor. The crystal was unstable." Officer Park frowned. "Rules are clear. Only level 10 personnel. Look at the readings," Dr. Yoon interrupted, pointing to the screen. "Judge Han has a rare brain pattern. He's helping stabilize the crystal." Officer Park looked at the screen, then at Han, then back at Dr. Yoon. "This is irregular. Sometimes irregular is necessary," Dr. Yoon said. "Judge Han is learning that lesson right now." Han watched this exchange with new eyes. Yesterday, he would have agreed with Officer Park. Rules were rules. But now he saw the bigger picture. "Officer Park," Han said calmly, "I understand your concern. But Dr. Yoon is right. Sometimes we must look beyond rules to find the best solution." Officer Park seemed surprised to hear a judge say this. After a moment, he nodded. "I will note this exception in my report. But next time, file the proper forms first." After Officer Park left, Dr. Yoon smiled at Han. "You're learning fast, Judge. Tomorrow in class, we'll discuss how different species view rules. I think you'll have interesting things to share." Han nodded, still touching the now calm crystal. He had come to teach Dr. Yoon a lesson about rules. Instead, she had taught him a lesson about wisdom. In the heart of a bustling city, Emily stood at the edge of her life's most significant challenge. The tall, slender woman with determination etched into her face had been preparing for this moment her entire career. Her hands trembled slightly as she clutched the research documents that could change everything. The city around her buzzed with energy, but Emily felt a profound silence within herself. Years of study, countless late nights, and sacrifices had led her to this precise moment. Her breakthrough in medical research was about to be presented to the most critical scientific panel in the country. The conference hall was intimidating. Rows of chairs filled with the most brilliant minds in medicine sat waiting. Professors, researchers, and leading experts who could crush her dreams with a single critical question looked expectantly at her. Emily took a deep breath and stepped forward. Her research focused on a revolutionary treatment for a rare genetic disorder that had previously been considered untreatable. She had discovered a unique combination of genetic therapies that could potentially change the lives of hundreds of patients worldwide. But proving her theory would require absolute precision and unwavering confidence. As she began her presentation, her voice started soft but gradually grew stronger. Each slide revealed years of meticulous work, complex scientific data transformed into clear, understandable graphics. She explained how her approach differed from previous unsuccessful attempts, highlighting the innovative techniques she had developed. The audience listened intently. Some looked skeptical, others showed growing interest. Emily knew that every single person in that room was evaluating not just her research, but her credibility as a scientist. One mistake could discredit years of work. Suddenly, during the most critical part of her presentation, the main projector flickered and died. For a moment, the room fell silent. Lesser researchers might have panicked, but Emily remained calm. She continued her explanation using her backup notes, her passion for the subject shining through. Her colleagues watched, impressed by her composure. The technical failure could have ruined her presentation, but she transformed it into an opportunity to demonstrate her depth of knowledge. She spoke without visual aids, describing her research with such clarity that the complex scientific concepts became almost poetic. When the question and answer session began, the panel fired challenging questions at her. Each query was like a potential landmine, but Emily navigated them skillfully. Her responses were precise, backed by solid scientific evidence and a deep understanding of her field. Hours later, after intense scrutiny and multiple rounds of questioning, The panel's lead researcher approached her. His expression was unreadable. Emily's heart raced, wondering if her years of work would be validated or dismissed. "Your research is groundbreaking," he finally said, a slight smile breaking through his serious demeanor. "We believe you have discovered something truly remarkable." Those words changed everything. Emily's years of dedication, her countless sacrifices, her unwavering belief in her work, everything had led to this moment of validation. Her research could potentially save lives, offer hope to patients who had none before. As she left the conference hall, the city seemed different. The streets looked brighter, the people more hopeful. She had not just presented a scientific paper. She had opened a door to potential medical miracles. Her journey was far from over. Implementing the research, conducting further trials, and gaining widespread medical acceptance would be another challenging path. But for now, she allowed herself a moment of pure, unadulterated joy. The challenge had been met. Emily had proven that passion, hard work, and unwavering belief could indeed move mountains. Her story was not just about scientific achievement, but about human potential, about pushing boundaries and believing in the impossible. As the evening descended, Emily walked home, her steps light, her heart full of hope and excitement for the future she was about to create. In the heart of a bustling city, Emily stood at the edge of her life's most significant challenge. The tall, slender woman with determination etched into her face had been preparing for this moment her entire career. Her hands trembled slightly as she clutched the research documents that could change everything. The city around her buzzed with energy, but Emily felt a profound silence within herself. Years of study, countless late nights, and sacrifices had led her to this precise moment. Her breakthrough in medical research was about to be presented to the most critical scientific panel in the country. The conference hall was intimidating. Rows of chairs filled with the most brilliant minds in medicine sat waiting. Professors, researchers, and leading experts who could crush her dreams with a single critical question looked expectantly at her. Emily took a deep breath and stepped forward. Her research focused on a revolutionary treatment for a rare genetic disorder that had previously been considered untreatable. She had discovered a unique combination of genetic therapies that could potentially change the lives of hundreds of patients worldwide. But proving her theory would require absolute precision and unwavering confidence. As she began her presentation, her voice started soft but gradually grew stronger. Each slide revealed years of meticulous work, complex scientific data transformed into clear, understandable graphics. She explained how her approach differed from previous unsuccessful attempts, highlighting the innovative techniques she had developed. The audience listened intently. Some looked skeptical, others showed growing interest. Emily knew that every single person in that room was evaluating not just her research, but her credibility as a scientist. One mistake could discredit years of work. Suddenly, during the most critical part of her presentation, the main projector flickered and died. For a moment, the room fell silent. Lesser researchers might have panicked, but Emily remained calm. She continued her explanation using her backup notes, her passion for the subject shining through. Her colleagues watched, impressed by her composure. The technical failure could have ruined her presentation, but she transformed it into an opportunity to demonstrate her depth of knowledge. She spoke without visual aids, describing her research with such clarity that the complex scientific concepts became almost poetic. When the question and answer session began, the panel fired challenging questions at her. Each query was like a potential landmine, but Emily navigated them skillfully. Her responses were precise, backed by solid scientific evidence and a deep understanding of her field. Hours later, after intense scrutiny and multiple rounds of questioning, the panel's lead researcher approached her. His expression was unreadable. Emily's heart raced, wondering if her years of work would be validated or dismissed. "Your research is groundbreaking," he finally said, a slight smile breaking through his serious demeanor. "We believe you have discovered something truly remarkable." Those words changed everything. Emily's years of dedication, her countless sacrifices, her unwavering belief in her work, everything had led to this moment of validation. Her research could potentially save lives, offer hope to patients who had none before. As she left the conference hall, the city seemed different. The streets looked brighter, the people more hopeful. She had not just presented a scientific paper. She had opened a door to potential medical miracles. Her journey was far from over. Implementing the research, conducting further trials, and gaining widespread medical acceptance would be another challenging path. But for now, she allowed herself a moment of pure, unadulterated joy. The challenge had been met. Emily had proven that passion, hard work, and unwavering belief could indeed move mountains. Her story was not just about scientific achievement, but about human potential, about pushing boundaries and believing in the impossible. As the evening descended, Emily walked home, her steps light, her heart full of hope and excitement for the future she was about to create. In a small town nestled between rolling hills, an unexpected story of human connection was about to unfold. Marcus, a quiet elderly man who lived alone, had become invisible to most of his neighbors. His days passed in silent routine, with few people noticing his existence. One rainy afternoon, a young girl named Sarah noticed Marcus struggling with his grocery bags. Without hesitation, she rushed to help him, her small hands struggling with the heavy bags. The old man looked surprised, almost shocked that someone had noticed him. Their first meeting was awkward. Marcus was not used to kindness, and Sarah was naturally curious. She helped him carry the bags to his tiny house, a place that seemed frozen in time. Photographs covered the walls, memories of a lifelong past, filled with faces Marcus rarely spoke about. Sarah's parents were concerned when she first told them about helping Marcus. They worried about stranger danger and warned her to be careful. But Sarah saw something different in the old man, a sadness that needed healing, a story waiting to be heard. Over the next few weeks, Sarah would visit Marcus after school. He would share stories about his life, about working in factories, about losing his wife decades ago, about dreams he had never fulfilled. Sarah listened with the pure, unfiltered attention that only a child can give. The town slowly began to change. Other children started following Sarah's example. They would help Marcus with small tasks, fixing his garden fence, bringing him homemade cookies, helping him with technology he didn't understand. What started as Sarah's simple act of kindness grew into a community movement. Marcus's house, once a place of silence, became a center of warmth. Neighbors who had ignored him for years now stopped by, brought food, shared conversations. He was no longer invisible. His stories, once forgotten, now echoed through the community. One remarkable aspect of their relationship was how differently they saw the world. Marcus spoke of old struggles, wars he had witnessed, economic challenges he had survived. Sarah listened and connected these historical experiences to her own understanding of the world. The town's community center heard about Marcus's story. They invited him to share his experiences with local school children. His first presentation was nervous and shaky, but the children's genuine interest gave him confidence. He became a living history book, teaching younger generations about resilience and hope. Sarah's parents, initially skeptical, became Marcus's strongest supporters. They saw how their daughter had not just helped an old man, but had reconnected an entire community. Marcus was no longer a stranger. He was now a beloved community member. As months passed, Marcus's health began to decline, but his spirit remained strong, fueled by the connections he had rediscovered. The community rallied around him, ensuring he received proper care, showing him love and respect. On his 80th birthday, the entire town gathered to celebrate. Children made cards, neighbors brought food, and Sarah stood beside him, holding his hand. Marcus, who had once felt completely alone, was now surrounded by love. His story became a powerful reminder of humanity's potential for compassion. One small act of kindness had transformed an entire community's understanding of connection and care. Sarah had shown that age, background, and differences meant nothing when genuine human empathy was present. The town learned that humanity was not about grand gestures, but about simple, everyday kindness. Marcus was no longer just an old man. He was a symbol of how people could come together, bridge generational gaps, and create meaningful connections. As the celebration continued, Marcus looked around at the faces, young and old, who now considered him family. Tears filled his eyes, not of sadness, but of pure, overwhelming joy. He had rediscovered hope, community, and the beautiful complexity of human connection. Sarah stood nearby, smiling, understanding that she had done something extraordinary. She had reminded an entire community about the power of seeing people, of listening, of caring. Her simple act of helping an old man with grocery bags had become a movement of love and understanding. The story of Marcus and Sarah spread beyond their small town, inspiring others to look around, to see the invisible people in their communities, to extend a hand of friendship and understanding. It was a testament to the incredible potential of human kindness.